Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving straight into the hidden, highly active medicinal properties of the world's most common vegetable, the onion. You probably have one sitting in your kitchen right now. It's the humble base of almost every savory recipe across the globe. But after we look at the clinical data today, I guarantee you're going to start viewing it a little differently.
Think about it. What if the absolute cheapest ingredient in your pantry was actually a complex biological weapon? Today, we're literally peeling back the layers to see how the onion acts as a dual force mechanism within the human body. It's wild, because it serves as both an impenetrable shield for your gut and a highly targeted sword against some of the most menacing pathogens known to medicine. We're going to map out exactly how this works and why this simple veggie is way more than just a flavor enhancer.
All right, let's get right into Layer 1, fueling the gut microbiome. It all kicks off in your body's microscopic ecosystem. To understand the onion's power, we really have to look at what it's made of. Onions are absolutely packed with a specific type of soluble carbohydrate called fructans. Now here's the interesting part. Your body actually cannot digest fructans on its own. Instead, they act as prebiotics. They travel down into your digestive tract completely intact, serving as a high-quality specialized food source designed just to feed the beneficial, friendly bacteria living in your intestine. When these friendly bacteria gorge on the onion's fructans, this fascinating chemical process takes place. The bacteria ferment the fiber, and as a byproduct, they produce what are called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. One of the most important of these is butyrate. These SCFAs are absolutely essential for your health. They're literally the primary source of energy for your colon cells, and they actively work to reduce inflammation throughout your entire gut.
And understanding this dynamic is absolutely crucial. When you consume a high-fiber diet like one rich in onions, those SCFAs we just talked about create an optimal, slightly acidic environment. This acidity is perfect for friendly microbes to thrive, creating a balanced gut microbiota. It acts kind of like a scale, keeping the unhealthy, unfavorable bacteria perfectly in check.
But if we contrast that high-fiber onion diet with a low-fiber diet that relies heavily on processed foods and sugars, well, the scale completely tips. Without those prebiotics from foods like onions, the gut environment becomes dangerously alkaline. Your friendly bacteria essentially starve, and the harmful bacteria begin to multiply rapidly. This leads to a state of severe imbalance known as dysbiosis. And that imbalance, it has serious consequences for your internal barrier.
So the major takeaway here is that by feeding the good bacteria, the fibers in onions actively help maintain the integrity of your intestinal lining. When your gut balance is off, that lining becomes permeable, which is a condition called leaky gut syndrome. Toxins, harmful bacteria, and undigested food particles can literally leak right through the intestinal wall and into your bloodstream, triggering widespread inflammation. The onion is essentially your daily structural reinforcement against that exact scenario.
Okay, let's step it up a notch. Layer 2, fighting off harmful bacteria.
Historical records actually note that during World War II, Russian soldiers used onions as antiseptics in battle wounds. Modern science finally explains why. We are dealing with incredible chemical complexity here. Beyond just fiber, researchers have identified 25 active components in onions. This includes sulfur, which is a potent anti-inflammatory, and specific flavonoid compounds like anthocyanins and quercetin. These aren't just passive nutrients, guys. They operate as highly effective antimicrobial agents that can literally disrupt and destroy bacterial threats.
To prove this, clinical researchers tested onion water extracts directly against some of the most notorious infectious bacteria found in human diseases. Using a filter paper method, they found that white onion extract at high concentrations created significant inhibitory zones against bacteria like E. coli and MRSA. Yeah, MRSA, the highly dangerous methicillin-resistant staph bacteria that absolutely plagues hospitals. The onion extract visibly halted its growth in its tracks.
Which brings us to an interesting question. Does onion color actually matter?
The clinical data says absolutely yes. According to the research, when testing physical pieces of the vegetable, the white onion proved exceptionally strong against MRSA, creating a massive 22mm inhibitory zone. It also showed highly effective targeted action against E. coli.
Then we have the red onion, which gets its vibrant color from those anthocyanins we mentioned earlier. The red onion displayed an incredibly broad spectrum of defenses, showed excellent bactericidal effects against Pseudomonas and MSSA, alongside strong impacts on MRSA and E. coli. It's a fantastic, wide-ranging biological shield.
Meanwhile, the green onion holds its own completely unique profile. In the clinical test, physical pieces of green onion were specifically noted for successfully killing Salmonella, which is a major foodborne pathogen. It also showed strong effects against MRSA, MSSA, and Klebsiella. What this proves is that all three colors possess distinct, highly powerful defensive capabilities that protect your body from totally different angles.
So, we've got a common vegetable that fortifies the gut wall on one hand and actively destroys superbugs on the other. It sounds perfect, right? But like any highly potent medicine or biological agent, there's a catch to this superhero.
Let's look at layer 3, the unpleasant side effects.
So what is the frustrating catch? Well, beyond the inevitable tears at the cutting board and the lingering social cost of onion breath, the internal effects can actually be quite challenging. The very same fructans that do such a brilliant job of feeding your gut flora can be really hard for the human body to process. For many individuals, this rapid fermentation leads to uncomfortable stomach pain, bloating, and nausea. Furthermore, onions, especially when eaten raw, are notorious for triggering heartburn and can severely aggravate GERD. And while it's rare, some people experience genuine allergic reactions, resulting in skin rashes or breathing difficulties. But there's a more serious clinical interaction to be aware of. Because onions contain natural blood-thinning properties, they can actually interfere with certain prescriptions. If someone is taking specific medication to slow blood clotting, combining that with a diet heavily concentrated in onions can unintentionally increase the risk of excessive bleeding and bruising. It's a great reminder that natural compounds are still powerful chemical agents.
Ultimately, when we look at the totality of the clinical data, it proves that the onion is far, far more than a mere culinary staple. As researchers note, extracts from the Oleum family are robust enough to be used as natural preservatives and active pathogen controllers. It's a powerful, ancient regulator of our internal ecosystems. So, the next time you're standing at the cutting board, chopping up the absolute cheapest vegetable in your kitchen, you kind of have to ask yourself, knowing that it harbors a complex, dual-purpose medical powerhouse capable of feeding your microscopic allies and destroying superbugs while occasionally causing a bit of trouble, how are you going to view your next meal differently? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to unpack the fascinating science hidden right in plain sight.